So another really big mistake, and once again, I hate to pick on parents, but my parents told me, if you get an education and you work really, really hard, you'll be successful one day. And here's what I've learned over the years. I used to work really, really hard. Matter of fact, I would call myself a workaholic and didn't really get to spend as much time with my daughter as I would have liked, didn't spend as much time with my then wife. And I was working hard every day. Matter of fact, I was working like 18 hours, 16-hour days. The reason we get into real estate in the first place is to build a lifestyle for ourselves. We were trying to get some freedom. There were times where I was actually missing the days where I worked at the phone company because I only had to work 8 hours. I'd work 8 hours, I'd go home and I wouldn't take the job with me. When I was at one point in real estate, I was working, like I said, 16, 18-hour days. And then when I was done actually working and I was supposed to be present with my family, my real estate was still on my mind. So I was really working pretty much 24 hours a day when you think about it. Then I decided over time that, hey, it's time to start delegating some of this stuff. And so I'm going to tell you the three phases that I find with not just real estate investors, but pretty much every entrepreneur I know. So we start off in the phase where, hey, you know what? I have to do everything because nobody could possibly be as good as me at these things. Nobody on this whole planet is as good at me as I am at managing properties or finding deals or whatever it is. So when I started working in Las Vegas, that was my second city that I worked in. I was both involved in real estate now in Canada and the US at the same time, and I couldn't go collect my own rent. So I reluctantly hired a property manager, got him to deal with my Vegas properties. I dealt with my Calgary properties and started to realize, he's collecting a lot more rent than I am. And even though I thought I was the best person on the planet to do property management, turns out I wasn't. So even after I paid him his 10%, he was still making me a lot more money than I was making for myself. And I started to realize that maybe there are other people on this planet that can be just as good at me as I am, if not better, at some of the things that I was doing. So then, as I mentioned, I went into mode number 2. I started off as a one-man show. Then I became what I would call a micromanager, where he was doing a better job than me, yet I had it where he had to report to me every little thing that happened. So he'd be calling me saying, hey Mike, 123 Main Street, the fridge is broken, what should I do? Even though he knew how to handle it, he had to be babysat by me, because in my mind, I don't want him to rip me off. I don't want him to take advantage of me. What if he doesn't know how to do things as well as I can? So I still had that in the back of my mind that, people need to report to me because I still know best. And I was realizing that every single time he'd call me with a broken fridge, not once did I say, you know what, we don't need a new fridge. The tenant doesn't need a fridge. It was always the exact same answer. It's see what it costs to fix it, and if it's more than a certain amount, let's just replace the fridge. Let's put a new one in there. Yet it took up a lot of my time because I'd be on the phone all the time listening to all the little issues that were going on in my properties. So that's phase number 2, is a micromanager phase. Then comes number 3, where you kind of just let go. And that's where you get your freedom from. When you have the right people on your teams, you have the right systems. So in this case, I said, hey, you know what? If a fridge breaks, you don't have to call me anymore. Just see what it costs to fix it. If it's more than a certain amount, replace it. Now I got all these phone calls off my plate, and now it gave me more freedom, where I wasn't dealing with these small little issues. There's always going to be a limit on it. If a house burns down to the ground, yes, I'd like to know about that. If somebody dies, yeah, please let me know. If there's a flood, yes. But all these little things add up. And if you're on the phone, 15, 20 minutes a day per call, dealing with small little things, eventually you're going to be working just as hard as you were when you did the stuff yourself as a micromanager. So when you get to that 3rd phase, that's where you get your true freedom. And that's letting people do what they're good at, finding the right people that are passionate about what they're doing, that are qualified to do what they're doing. And chances are they know how to do it 100 times better than you, especially if that's all you do is property management all day long. Or property managers only get paid when they collect rent. So of course they're going to try and put the best tenants in place. They're going to try and take the best care of those tenants. They stay put, because it's a win-win for all of us. It's better for the tenant, it's better for them, and it's better for you. So give up the reins. The quicker you can get out of those first 2 phases and into that 3rd phase of having trust, having the right people, having the right systems, the better off your life is going to be, and the more scalable your career is going to be. Imagine if you want to get to 100 properties, you can't get to 100 properties doing this on your own. You can't even get, when I had 3 or 4 properties, I had way more stress in my life than I do now. And I can tell you I have a lot more than 3 or 4 properties. So you can't scale your business without the right systems, without the right people, and without the right mindset. That's the most important thing, is you got to get that mindset where it's like, hey, I'm going to put people in the right spot, and let them do what they're good at, and I'm going to step back. And yes, there's people way, way, way smarter than me. So that would be one of the biggest mistakes I see. And as soon as I got that mistake behind me, and my business got a lot bigger, I started to make a lot more money, and I had a lot more happiness. A lot more happiness. That's the most important thing, and a lot more freedom in my life. So I want you, as soon as possible, to start thinking about how can I scale my business, how can I make it bigger, but how can I work less hard. Don't listen to your parents. They mean well, but they're lying to you. You can't build a business working really, really hard. You can build a business being the visionary for your business and then putting the right systems, right people in place, let them do their thing.